What if I told you that rushing to pay off that loan in 2026 might be one of the biggest financial mistakes you could make? You just got your tax refund, $4,000 sitting in your checking account, and you know what your first thought is? I'm going to throw this at my car loan. I'm going to be debt free faster. And look, I get it. I really do. Because that's what everyone tells you to do, right? Dave Ramsey says, kill the debt. Your parents say debt is bad. Every personal finance guru on the internet is screaming debt free, debt free, debt free. But I'm gonna be straight with you. That advice, it's costing you a fortune. And I'm not being dramatic here. I'm talking tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're leaving on the table because you're so focused on hitting zero. Look, my name is Brian, and I've spent the last decade helping regular people, people just like you, build serious wealth. Not just scrape by, not just pay off their car and call it a win. I'm talking about the kind of wealth that changes your family's future forever. And here's what drives me absolutely crazy. I watch people make the same mistake over and over again. Smart people, hardworking people, people who are trying to do the right thing. And they're sabotaging themselves because they've been fed this one-size-fits-all advice that sounds good but destroys wealth. And here's what most people don't realize. The way we think about debt in 2026 needs to be completely different from how we thought about it in 2006 or even 2016. Now, before you click away thinking I'm about to tell you that debt is good and you should go finance a Lamborghini, no. That's not what this is. This is about understanding something that the traditional personal finance world doesn't want you to know. Actually, let me rephrase that. It's not that they don't want you to know it, they just don't understand it themselves. See, there's this massive psychological shift that happens when you get money, whether it's a tax refund, a bonus, an inheritance, whatever. Your brain immediately goes into debt destruction mode. And I'm going to show you why that instinct, that gut reaction that feels so right might be costing you tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Here's what everyone thinks they know. Debt is bad. Interest is the enemy. Pay it off as fast as humanly possible. And look, I'm not here to tell you that debt is amazing, but what I am here to tell you is that not all debt is created equal, and the financial landscape in 2026 is wildly different than it was even 5 years ago. Let me give you a real example. Let's say you have a car loan. You owe $18,000 at 4.2% interest. You've got about 3 years left on it, and your monthly payment is $532. You just got that $4,000 tax refund. Every bone in your body is telling you to throw it at that loan. Get it down to $14,000, maybe even refinance. Get it paid off in 2 years instead of 3. Here's what nobody tells you. By doing that, you might be walking away from an extra $47,000 in wealth over the next 20 years. Yeah, $47,000. Now you might be thinking, Brian, that's impossible. How can paying off debt cost me money? This is where it gets really interesting. Okay, let's get into the actual numbers here because this is where most financial advice falls apart. They give you the emotion, but they don't give you the math. So you've got that $18,000 car loan at 4.2%. If you take that $4,000 refund and throw it at the loan, here's what happens. You save approximately $380 in interest over the life of the loan. You pay it off 12 months earlier. And you get to post on social media about being debt-free, which, feels great. But here's the thing. What if instead of paying down that 4.2% debt, you took that same $4,000 and put it into a boring, basic index fund? According to Vanguard's 2024 market analysis, the S&P 500 has averaged about 10.2% annually over the past 50 years. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Brian, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. You're absolutely right. So let's be conservative. Let's say you only get 7% annually. That's being pretty pessimistic, honestly. That $4,000 growing at 7% annually over 20 years becomes $15,494. You paid off your car loan early and saved $380. You invested instead and made $11,494. The difference, $11,114 from one decision with one chunk of money. But it gets even crazier than that. See, here's what most people don't realize about this decision. It's not just about that one $4,000 chunk of money. When you pay off your car loan early, that $532 monthly payment doesn't just disappear into the ether, right? You'll eventually start putting it somewhere else. Maybe savings, maybe investments, maybe, let's be honest, lifestyle inflation. But here's the psychological trap. When that loan is gone, you feel done. You feel like you've accomplished something. And you probably will use at least some of that money for other things. Maybe you upgrade your apartment. Maybe you finally buy that nicer couch. Maybe you eat out more. According to a 2023 study by the National Endowment for Financial Education, 78% of people who pay off a loan early increase their discretionary spending within 6 months. 78%. But when you keep making that loan payment when it's still automatically coming out of your account and you're simultaneously building your investment account, you're forcing yourself to do both. You're building wealth while managing debt. This is the thing that drives me crazy about the debt-free movement. It's so focused on the zero that it misses the millions. Let me tell you about my friend Sarah. Real person, real situation. Sarah had $32,000 in student loans at 3.8% interest. She got a $15,000 inheritance from her grandmother. Everyone told her, pay off almost half those loans. Be debt-free faster. But Sarah did the math. She invested that $15,000 instead. She kept making her regular student loan payments, about $380 a month. That was in 2014. You know what that $15,000 is worth today in 2026? Just over $41,000. Even with the market volatility, even with everything that's happened. If she'd paid down her loans, she'd have saved about $2,100 in interest. The difference in her net worth, almost $39,000 from one decision. Now look, I need to be crystal clear here. I am not telling you to never pay off debt. I'm not saying all debt is good debt. Here's the framework you need to understand. There's a threshold, an interest rate threshold that changes everything. In 2026, with the current economic environment, here's my rule. If your debt is above 7% interest, you need to be aggressive about paying it down. Credit cards at 23%, kill those. Personal loans at 12%, destroy them. That needs to be your priority. But if your debt is below 7%, and especially if it's below 5%, you need to think very differently. Your car loan at 4.2%, keep it. Your mortgage at 3% that you locked in during COVID. For the love of God, keep making the minimum payment. Your student loans at 4.5%, don't rush to pay them off. Why? Because you can beat those interest rates in the market. Historically, consistently over time, you can beat them. And here's what nobody talks about. Inflation is actually working for you on those low interest loans. Let me explain this because it's kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it. Let's say you have a mortgage payment of $2,000 a month. In 2026, that $2,000 is, well, it's $2,000. But because of inflation, even moderate inflation of 3% annually, that same $2,000 payment in 2036 will feel like you're only paying about $1,488 in today's money. Your payment stays the same, but inflation makes it cheaper over time. Meanwhile, your home appreciates, your income hopefully increases, and that fixed payment becomes easier and easier. This is where it gets really interesting. When you have a fixed rate loan at 4% and inflation is running at 3%, your real interest rate is only 1%. You're basically borrowing money for almost free. But there's another piece to this that most people completely miss. And honestly, This is the piece that could save your life financially. Raise liquidity. Here's the scenario nobody wants to talk about. You take all your savings, that $4,000 tax refund, your emergency fund, whatever, and you throw it at your debt. You're so proud. You're debt-free. You post about it. Everyone congratulates you. And then your car breaks down. Your kid needs braces. You lose your job. Life happens. Now what? You've got no debt? Sure. But you also have no money. And you know what banks say when you go to them and say, hey, remember all that money I paid you early? Can I have some of it back? They laugh at you. Okay, they don't actually laugh, but they might as well, because that money is gone. You can't get it back. You can't unpay a loan. But investment accounts, those are liquid. You can access them. In an emergency, you can sell. You can borrow against them. You have options. According to the Federal Reserve's 2024 report on the economic well-being of U.S. households, 37% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or savings. 37%. This is why I tell people, build your investment accounts while you have debt. Keep that cushion. Keep that flexibility. Because here's the thing about life. It doesn't care that you're debt-free. Life still happens, emergencies still happen, opportunities still happen, and if all your money is locked up in home equity or gone because you paid off your car early, you're stuck. You're financially paralyzed. All right, so what do you actually do with this information? Here's your step-by-step framework for 2026. Step 1, list out all your debts, every single one. Write down the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payment. Step 2, divide them into 2 categories. Category A, interest rates above 7%. These are your enemies. Attack these aggressively. Category B, interest rates below 7%. These are your, let's call them frenemies. You're going to keep these around while you build wealth. Step 3, for any windfall money you get, tax refunds, bonuses, gifts, whatever, run this calculation. If the amount you'd save in interest by paying down Category B debt is less than what you could reasonably make by investing over the same time period, invest it instead. Step 4, set up automatic investments. This is crucial. If you pay off a loan, you'll spend that money. Human nature. So automate it before the loan is gone. Get in the habit of investing while you still have the debt payment. Step 5, build your emergency fund to at least 6 months of expenses before you aggressively pay down any Category B debt. Liquidity first, always. Let me give you a concrete example of what this looks like. Meet David. He's got $8,500 in credit card debt at 19.9%. Category A, kill this. $24,000 car loan at 4.8%. Category B, keep it. $12,000 mortgage at 3.2%. Category B, definitely keep it. David taps bonus on his phone and $6,000 flashes onto the screen as money shoots into his open hands, his thumb still touching the screen. Over 20 years, this strategy will make David approximately $68,000 wealthier than the debt-free approach. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Brian, being debt-free feels so good. There's a psychological benefit to not owing anyone anything. And you're right, there absolutely is. But here's the psychological shift I need you to make. Stop thinking about debt as this moral failure. Stop treating it like this evil thing that's ruining your life. Debt is a tool, that's it. It's a financial tool that you can use wisely or use poorly. A hammer isn't evil, but you can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use it to smash your thumb. The hammer doesn't care. Same with debt. The psychological benefit you get from being debt-free, that's real. I'm not dismissing it. But, you know, what else is a psychological benefit? Looking at your investment account and seeing $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. You know what feels good? Knowing that if you lost your job tomorrow, you could live for a year on your investments. Knowing that you have options, that feels pretty damn good too. Here's the thing about the debt-free movement that frustrates me. It's optimizing for a feeling instead of optimizing for outcomes. It's optimizing for the Instagram post instead of optimizing for actual wealth. And look, If you want to be debt-free for peace of mind and you fully understand that it's costing you money to do it, fine. That's your choice. I respect it. Personal finance is personal, but make that choice with your eyes open. Make it knowing what it's costing you. Don't make it because some guru told you debt is always bad without understanding the nuance. So here's where we are in 2026. Interest rates on good debt, mortgages, car loans, some student loans, are still historically low. The market, despite volatility, still offers better returns than what you're paying on that debt. And inflation is still working in your favor on fixed rate loans. This is the environment where rushing to pay off low interest debt is leaving massive amounts of money on the table. I'm not telling you to go into debt. I'm not telling you to finance things you can't afford. I'm telling you that if you already have low interest debt, don't be in such a hurry to pay it off that you miss the opportunity to build real wealth. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Debt-free and broke is still broke. You know what's better than being debt-free? Being debt-free and having $1 million in investments. But you know what's even better than that? Having a $200,000 mortgage at 3.5% and having $2 million in investments. Net worth, that's what matters. Not debt-free, net worth. So here's what I want you to do. Before you make that next debt payment with your tax refund or your bonus or whatever money comes your way, run the numbers. Actually run them. Don't just go with your gut. Calculate what paying off the debt early will save you. Calculate what investing could earn you. Look at the interest rates. Look at the time horizon. Make an informed decision. Because this one decision about what to do with extra money can be the difference between retiring at 67 and retiring at 55. Between leaving your kids nothing and leaving them a legacy, between just getting by and actually building wealth. In 2026, don't rush to kill your loan. Rush to build your wealth. That's the shift. That's the game. All right, if this video changed how you think about debt, hit that like button, subscribe if you want more real talk about building actual wealth, and drop a comment. Tell me, what's your interest rate on your lowest debt, and are you going to keep it or kill it? Let's build some wealth together. I'll see you in the next one.